When we operate from our dominant themes, it's like writing with our dominant hand.
Wow.
It's so high quality. You don't even really have to think about it. It's those moments when people come up to you and say like, oh, that was so awesome that you did fill in the blank. And you're looking at them like they have three eyes because it's just what you do. That is those are your gifts. Not everybody does what you do. So it's really honing in on that. Like you are special. Like, oh, it's not that special. It is. It is. And this is not an ego thing. It's very important to honor those.
Are you done people pleasing? Done comparing yourself to every woman on your Instagram feed? Done dating men who give you the bare minimum effort and somehow convincing yourself that it's enough? Done playing small so you can fit into spaces that were never built for you in the first place? Good. You are in exactly the right place. Welcome to Your Unapologetic Life, the podcast for women who are ready to stop settling and start showing up fully, confidently, and completely unapologetically in every area of their lives. I'm your host, Morgan Barkis, confidence coach for women, author, speaker, and exotic dance instructor with a master's degree in marriage and family therapy. I have built my confidence the hard way, speaking up for myself when it's scary, feeling sexy in my body when everything around me said I shouldn't, traveling alone, moving across the country by myself multiple times, dating with standards, knowing what I want, asking for it without apology. I have been in the mess and I have come out the other side, and now I coach women on how to do the same. This podcast is for the woman who is done waiting for permission, done waiting until she is skinnier, more polished, less complicated, or finally chosen by someone who keeps her guessing. She is smart, she is capable, and she is exhausted from trying to hold it all together while quietly falling apart inside. This is not a podcast about toxic positivity or 5 steps to a better morning routine. This is real talk about confidence, dating, body image, self-worth, and what it actually takes to become a woman who does not settle ever again. I'm glad you're here. If you're like me, you're listening at 1.5 speed while doing other things. So let's get into it.
Let's just have a shout out to our friend Emily. So anybody if we're sharing this part of the pod, reach out to Emily. If you are in a space where you are like, man, men suck. And for me as a queer woman, women they suck. I'm like,
yeah.
Time out.
Well, and
reach out to our friend Emily.
Yes, like for her, but also a couple things about that. Yes, she's a calling in one coach. So her to be able to, and I knew it, but to hear it from someone else reflected back saying, Morgan, this is a limiting belief and you are limiting yourself. And I was like, I know that. And to hear you say it to me makes me want to change. And I say that because as a queer woman, or as I went walking with a friend of mine who, by the way, I've known for 2 years. I did not know he was gay. And he goes, Morgan, you didn't know? I said, I swear to God. I said, I sometimes was sad that you were sad because it seemed like you were sad a lot. But I said, I had no idea you were gay. And then he started sharing all these limiting beliefs about finding a partner and how judgy everyone is and that gay men are unreliable. And I was like, well, you're limiting yourself. So, yeah, I think that it's working with the appropriate coach. But even with Emily and I, because we were together and she kind of put that out there, like we're going to find our partners and be married within the year. She's like, Morgan, what's crazy is I also have now had some opportunities. She's like, even if it didn't turn into anything, she goes, I have never in my life been hit on in the street where a man stopped me and said, you are gorgeous. Can I have your number? She's like, no one has ever done that before. She said, after you and I met, she's like, I don't know what happened, but something shifted for both of us and so that's why it's like, talk to your friends. Because I will say sometimes when good things happen, I kind of keep them to myself because I'm like, I don't want to jinx it or I don't want to brag. And I like to lift other people up. I'm good. Everybody, I want to make sure you're taken care of. I'm good. I'm always good. I'm independent. I'm strong, I'm resilient. I'll take care of myself. Don't worry about me. But then I thought, wait a second, why not recruit some of my friends into my manifestation? Why not support each other? And the more people that put things out into the universe, maybe that it becomes more powerful and we call it in because more people are rooting for us and aware of what we're looking for. Like even my gay friend, I was like, what if instead of not telling people that you're gay, you actually said, you know what? I'm gay. I would love to find a life partner if you know anybody. He's like, Morgan, I can't do that. I said, why not? Why not? Why not recruit other people into what you want in your life? Why not?
Mm-hmm. And what I also hear, going back to you and Emily in that moment as you were bidding adieu till next time, both of you made the decision. And that shifts everything. When you like burn the boats, cut off the possibilities of other backup plans whenever, like, decision. I don't know when it's happening. I'm committed to my decision. Yeah.
Well, and I wanted to talk to you about this because for the person listening, go ahead.
If I may, real quick on the decision part, like there is something to be said for also the flow, like surrender. Like I made a decision and surrendered to the highest good for all. Like, thank you so much. You know, I'm a spiritual faith-based, like, thank you so much, universe, God, source, vortex, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Thank you for the highest good for all. Like, I know you are looking out for all of us. Yeah. And so for me, like my future wife, maybe I've met her, maybe I haven't. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, I love that you said
it's
that.
All divine time. Yeah.
Yes, because I started this I love to get women together. I love also my business coach was like, Morgan, people, you can't just like give a freebie, like a PDF or something. Like people need to experience you and they need to be with you. And so we created the Confidence Club. So I launched the Confidence Club 2 weeks ago.
I saw that. Yes. I'm loving your socials. I'm like, ooh, yes. Morgan's on fire.
So today we actually talked about receiving and that women anatomically and energetically are meant to receive, but that doesn't mean, like you said, make a decision or initiate something and then step back and allow the energy of receiving. Because you don't get to push, you don't get to control, you don't get to manipulate or convince. Right. You put your intentions into the world, you make a choice, and then you step back and receive. And so I'm glad you said that.
Well, all those adjectives that you just used, that's not receiving, that's creating, that's attempting to create.
Ah, that's a cool way to look at it. Yeah.
That's not receiving. So you do your part for sure. Like make sure whatever I am a huge fan of thank you, source, universe, whoever, for the guidance on the next best step.
Yeah.
And then the next best step. And then the next best step. And as I think you and I are very much aligned on, and a lot of our fellow queens in DLA life and in community, that when we are tuned into that guidance on the next best step could be send a text, send an email, craft whatever. And it could also be, we're going to take a nap.
Go on a vacation. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna just see what's going on with Morgan because she has so much awesome, like you are my entertainment. I don't own a TV just because I'm in like a cute little 1910 mill house in North Carolina, so like there's only so much space.
Yeah.
And you honestly, there are moments where I'm like, I wonder what's going on with Morgan. And you are consistently like, I'm good. I have my entertainment for the day. Thank you, Morgan. And of course, for me, because we've had time together and we have, I use the metaphor of the relationship piggy bank, that we have so many deposits. It's not just checking out somebody on socials who I find entertaining. Like, oh, there's my friend, there's my buddy Morgan.
Yeah.
Slaying it, like she's doing her thing. She's shining her light brightly, and it's inspirational for me and motivational. It puts logs on my fire of like, all right, Nance. Yeah, like turn, like, let's go now. Let's go. Yeah, I become sporty spice. All of a sudden, like those soccer days come on back. You're like, and here you are watching.
I have a feeling this is going to go for a little bit. Okay.
Props.
So what I'm loving is, because I thought of you the other day because I had someone else on my podcast who does astrology, and she actually uses it in marketing. So she learns someone's chart and how they are to make sure that they're correctly using their voice, both their actual voice.
But I know exactly who you're talking about. I was just on call with her yesterday. Seidel?
Seidel. She's awesome. But what
looked into my soul. I swear to goodness. I was like, wow.
Well, in her personality, her energy lets you let her do that. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But I thought of you because she said, Morgan, I can't remember what she said, why or what house or what it was, but she said, you activate other people. Like, that's why people need to be in your energy. That's why you need to have the Confidence Club. That's why you need to, like, whether it's virtually or physically connect and be in communion with women, because you ignite something in them that makes them do something that they've been waiting to do. Like, they move because of working with you. And I was like, this makes sense, because in my Strengths Finder, activator is one of my top 5 strengths. So one, I want to let you take it.
Write that one. Yeah.
Well, one, I want you to describe what you do and all that stuff. But I want to also think, have you found that so much, like you're into the Strengths Finder, that's your thing, right? Cyto's into the birth charts. Somebody else is over doing human design.
Human design,
really,
Enneagram,
all of it ties into the same, and you can take pieces and go, well, that fits because of that. And the more you know about yourself, it's not selfish, it's not arrogant. It's like, I'm learning how to best be in this world and do not only what I love, but also be in service of others in the best way possible. So one, I just want to tell the listener, we know each other because we got to be in a Divine Living Academy together virtually, and they got to meet in person. We're like, click, 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 right?
Yeah. I wore my linen just for you. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you.
I'm like, you love linen. Like, I sure do.
You do. I was like, I have a lot of linen outfits. I'm over here in my fake patent leather over here. Even though it's like sweating.
I know Florida. I was like, you go, girl. You go. You do you.
So I want to talk about what it is you do, how you got into it, because everybody has a path and some are more linear than others, but I don't think anybody's path is completely linear. So I want to hear more about how you got into the work and why Strengths Finders, because like I said, there is birth charts and Enneagrams and human design. And there's all these different ways to analyze why we are the way we are. And you found value in Strengths Finders. So just take me back to wherever you want to take this story and how it got you where you are now.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. I love that question. And I sent out my monthly newsletter yesterday, today's July 1st that we are recording. So I was able to send it out it was right before midnight East Coast time on technically June, because it was 10 years ago last month where the seed of passion around strengths was planted in my heart. And the first time I took it was in 2009 in graduate school at UMass Amherst for social justice education, was my master's concentration. And much like happens for a lot of folks, you take the assessment and nothing is done with it. It's put into a folder and you just move on. So I do love that you are highlighting and stamping, if you will, that these are all tools for development. So Seidel's amazing natal chart read, like she's got a gift with that natal chart. I was like, wow. And I've had tarot readings, and it's no shade to all the folks who have done tarot readings for like friends and family out there. Thank you so much for, it was just like, oh, that's cool. I've done human design, Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, like all of them. These are all tools for development. The CliftonStrengths, formerly known as Strengths Finder, Gallup switched the name. When I say Gallup, we're talking the Gallup poll people, Gallup.
Pause on that for a second, Cara. Give me your 2 cents, because when I worked for a medical device company, a very well-known medical device company, it was extremely hard to get in. I'm talking 7 interviews in, and some people have even more than that. And one of them was the Gallup. And I did not pass. I think I was like on the line of not pass versus fail. It was like right in the middle. And thank God my manager believed in me and said, I want her anyway. I don't care.
As in, they used it as an evaluation tool?
You literally, if you did not pass the Gallup, you didn't get hired. So what did you do?
There's no passing. So that's a very important detail with all this in terms of ethical use, which I write about in my newsletter.
Okay.
And I'm so thankful that when my clients reach out, my longstanding clients I support with their onboarding, and it's in order to use this tool to get the most return on your investment, literally and figuratively, like your time, the actual money, hiring someone like me, that is a certified coach, to come in and create more that's systemic implementation. It is not to be used for hiring, because that is a great example of a microaggression, because this and I'm so thankful. Yeah. So when clients reach out and say, how do we use it in hiring? I very lovingly write back in a very diplomatic way, you don't. And I'm so thankful that Gallup, I just go back, I think I have a bookmark at this point. Gallup has a beautiful piece that I can share with you after the show. You can throw in the show notes if people are like, for real. So HR teams, all that, and that when we know better, we do better. Mm-hmm. So I have a funny feeling a lot of folks still use it in hiring because, much like yourself, that's what they experienced and they just don't know any better. However, best use with all of these tools is that it is not used in hiring because it is up to that human being to name for themselves how those themes, which are potential strengths, strength by Gallup's definition is consistent, near perfect performance on any given task. A weakness is anything that gets in the way of success. So both of these usually show up in your dominant themes. It's all about, do you have the awareness and consciousness to then apply that awareness from coaching conversations and making sense of your report, not in an interview. Like, you're not going to get coached in an interview. So to make a hiring decision based off of the person's assessment results, absolute microaggression. I will go on the record forever and a day and name that as unethical use of the tool.
Wow.
That is, because it's that person's perspective. Now, I've got it on my resume. I've got my top 10 on my resume on the top there that I'll offer. I leave it up there because I know how to speak to it for myself. I know that if that organization values strengths development and they're already implementing strengths development, then it elicits a conversation. But it is not it is not to be used in a hiring decision approach. So it is meant for personal and professional development. And there's a whole diatribe on my website. This is for development, not diagnosis.
That's bananas.
And same with all of them, like Enneagram, all of these.
Absolutely.
No hiring decisions, no nothing.
And maybe that company has moved away from it. I will say, though, when my job was absolved in that particular division, I applied to a couple other divisions and did not pass the Gallup. And they said, we can't hire you. You didn't pass the Gallup. And I was like, what? So
no. And it's so interesting, as I am so graciously happy to be a guest on podcasts, because, thank you for having me. And because I'm a Gallup Certified Strengths coach, folks are bringing to me, like the host is bringing to me, the exact same experience that you are sharing with me as well. So I would love to think that, they, maybe they don't do that anymore. My hunch is that it's probably used even more now because of the high needs in hiring. And I understand, I get it, that there is just so much to navigate and work through using the CliftonStrengths Strengths Finder in any one of those tools for development as the decision, as part of the part of the decision process is unethical. I do not recommend it.
And yet you love Strengths Finders in general. So talk to me why you see it as such a valuable tool. Why did you fall in love with it 10 years ago?
Yeah, thank you. Getting off my soapbox, and here I am back. Yes, thank you. The first time I took it was in graduate school. We didn't really use it, and that's okay. Like, it happens. Fast forwards, and that was January 2009. Like, to the point where I forgot about it. It wasn't until I went and got certified in the tool. It's a week-long certification with Gallup, and they have all of your results archived. So for my certification course, they used my original results, which is best to use pending a life-altering experience, which COVID did a doozy for all of us on that one. So if you've taken it before, you're like, I don't know if this really sounds like me, reach out to me. I can send you as a certified coach, I get a $10 discount after taxes. It's $5, but you save $5, so there you go. So they used my original results, and the date on it, January, 2009, I was like, I was in graduate school. Like, I don't even remember taking this thing, but that was December 2020. So first time taking it, 2009. Fast forward to June 2016. So that gets us back to the newsletter I sent out last night, that I realized that this year, I was like, oh my goodness, it was 10 years ago now that our senior, I was, my background's about 20 years in public education and a little bit of corporate education there at the end. From Chicago, hence like we got the Chicago, so I know we were jamming on them. We got good old Chicago here in Grant Park. When I was a teacher at Jones College Prep downtown there at the South Loop, so we had soccer practice in Grant Park. Talk about pinching yourself, like you turn around and you got the whole city sideline, like, this is amazing. I digress. So fast forward, I'm now living in North Carolina, working at Wake County Public Schools, which is serving all of the Raleigh schools. It is Wake County. And so me and just 2 other Michelles are serving all 34 high schools.
Wow.
For intervention services. And our senior leadership, Dr. Denise Tillery, afforded our full team, our K through 12 team, so 21 folks total, a full day retreat. So schools overall are out of session. We get to like regroup, like, okay, what did we like? And so she invested and brought in a facilitator who I don't know if she's certified in the tool, but she has enough passion, like had and still has enough passion around it, where we felt very cared for to make meaning of this thing called Strengths Finder at the time, now CliftonStrengths. And so I write about on my website that there's my life before that day and there is my life after that day.
Wow.
It took, like, all of us at Intervention Services, we just felt that love together. It took, and then zero in on the high school team, it took the Michelles and me, and my nickname is Cece, so I'd say we were Cece and the Michelles. We sound like a band, like, yeah. And so it took us from, like, we enjoyed each other, great colleagues. We would go get beers after work and just jam, like, and beyond cordial, like we genuinely cared about each other. But it took us from that and like doing good work to transformed within a day. And so because it creates, when facilitated well, so there's that caveat. So if anybody's had if they're kind of twitching right now, just hearing the word CliftonStrengths, as I said, it's okay. Reach out to me. We'll have a moment. It's okay. I get it. It took us from enjoying each other's company to I see you. I get it now. Like one of the Michelles at one point, so you start off with the best way to implement this, the tool, along with any other tool, and same thing with like practicing a sport, learning an instrument, whatever else. You want to focus on the foundations first. You want to focus on the self. Like, let me get my skills up to speed. Let me understand me first before I pivot into talking about partnerships, teams, whatnot, right? Like if you don't know yourself, you can't, but what are you going to bring in the conversation? So our facilitators started with that. And for me, just that alone, I was like, this is super illuminating. One of our other leadership members, not senior leadership, but one of the other leaders at one point, she's like, I always told my husband this, I knew it, like it's those type of self-grace, self-compassion moments that really come from it. I have had clients, I'll just throw a little caveat, I have had clients who overall in their top 5, top 10 results, they feel pretty good about it as we have those private coaching conversations around raising that awareness and application and all that. There are moments where they're like, I'm good with these 4 or whatever, but this one here, I'm not digging on this, that this is here, that this one is part of my top themes of my assessment. And after a little coaching, what is revealed and unpacked is that they learned as a young person that it wasn't okay to show that in their family, like they were made fun of in their family for shining that part of themselves. So they learned pretty quick in the spirit of safety to put it away and to hide it. I think that like the example that's coming to top of mind right now, it was the achiever thing. And that is such a beautiful gift for most folks with high achiever. It's this amazing ability to be a pace setter. And every morning, like you wake up fresh, like let's tackle it. And I think in the family life, it was like, you're too much. That's like, oh, no, that's a gift. So it's navigating those elements as well that can come to the surface when we really start to unpack the golden nuggets that the that folks' results can highlight, right? So we had that time in the morning to just make sense for ourselves. We did a little partner work. And in the afternoon, it was like, okay, break off into your teams. And there were so many awesome moments. And one of the ones that I share in trainings and with clients, one of the Michelles in that team time together, she was like, you know what? Because a safe space had been created and we had a lot of deposits in our relationship piggy bank at that point, like, so I want to name that part too. Like, if this is a fresh team, you're going to navigate a little slow, like a little bit more of an on-ramp is going to be best, so that people can really get those deposits in those relationship piggy banks, because there's going to be withdrawals most likely at certain points. So you want to make sure that those relationships will still be in the black rather than in the red, a la economics, when you're going through that team time. But she kind of reminds me of you, honestly. Like, she just turned to us and she's like, all right, I'm going to be honest. And I'm going, in a meeting, I'm online shopping in my head. What? Right? And the other Michelle and I were like, okay. She's like, when I sound like, and she used very colorful language, when I sound like a bitch, that's when I'm invested. That's when I am here and I'm engaged. When I just pick and grill and like like it sounds like I'm being difficult, that's when I act like I'm there with you and I care. And the other Michelle and I were like, what was that?
What strength is that was coming out?
Gosh, yeah, I do not remember the specific one. And now as a certified coach, golly, you know what? I'll go back to I don't know if I have access to those old ones, but I can dig around and see if I can track that down.
I'm just curious if you had a couple that might come to your mind, because I'm not that person. Like one of my top 5 strengths is harmony. So I'm like,
you're not going to like that.
Right. Things do get heated. I'm trying to manage people's emotions.
Right. And I will name, I appreciate you bringing up the different themes. So there's 34 total. As a human being, we have all 34. It's not like we don't have it. Yeah. And they aren't Merriam-Webster dictionary definitions. These are Gallup definitions. So friends out there, listeners, when Morgan says harmony, it's kind of like the Merriam-Webster, but not necessarily. There's more nuances, but yes, like essentially you are not fed by, and this is how I coach it. This is how I learned in the certification course. And I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. That our dominant theme, so like your top 5, which are potential strengths, your top 5, 10, where you get to decide for yourself where your cutoff is. And that's where like the whole coaching session really comes in, where that you can feel it in your body. You're like, yeah, this is like, heck yes. And then when it starts to dip into, when you're reading through like the need, brings, and needs, if it feels in your body, they're like, well, I guess so. Like then that now flips into your supporting themes. You've got your dominant themes and your supporting themes. Okay, it's all about energy. When you're in your dominant themes, you get least amount of energy to use it, and you're energized by it. And it's like riding with your dominant hand.
Okay, so you're going way deeper than I knew this.
I am.
And I love it. No, I want you to do something with me. So I'm going to tell you my top 5 strengths. What would you do with that information? So I took my strengths finder, and I'm harmony, empathy, discipline, responsibility or whatever it is, and activator. So if you were working with me and you knew this about me, how would you find out what takes the least amount of energy but has the most impact? Or like, what should I be doing different or lean into? Or like, how would you coach me?
Yeah. So as the science and the art of coaching is known, I will name here just because, so to get listeners on board, that coaching by like the discipline itself is honoring that the coachee has everything in them that they already need. They are already fully resourced. Yep. Then the coach is, so for listeners like, so what the heck is the coach there for? The coach is your buddy of sorts, like your partner, who is highlighting from their perspective, like, hey, did you look over here? Or you mentioned this, have you ever thought about this over here? Because I'm starting to put some pieces together over here. And have you ever thought about fill in the blank? So coaching really is staying in questions. The moment we
any coach, you were a sports coach, I'm assuming, right? And
sure.
you think whether you hire a coach to get you in shape, a coach to help you with soccer, a coach to help you in business, like you said, I have all the resources. I may not know how to tap into them. I may need someone to cheerleader my ass on and push me and challenge me and lovingly be like, I know you can do it. You can do one more rep. Yes, you can, you know. And so it's not that you can't do it and it's not already in you. You want someone accountable. You want someone to push you. So, I mean, it doesn't matter what discipline, a coach is helping you get where you want to go. You know, you can do it. You need someone to help you do it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so when we shift to this professional development type of coaching and personal development type of coaching, it really is staying in the lane of questions. And so with this tool versus like, when I'm out with working with clients, I'll do my best to have the awareness to say like, okay, I'm going to start to put on my consulting hat for a second, because here are a couple of resources that I'm thinking about that have you ever tapped into these or whatever else. So it's like that dance a little bit. But you bringing that fresh to me, I would have already created your own custom tools. Gallup does a great job of creating tools for you, for each person who's completed the assessment. I also have access to a tool where, for me, it's quite a bit more succinct. And I like to start there because Gallup, I love them 100%. You know, we're on a recorded line that, hey, and for real, I love you, Gallup. And the 25 pages of information is a bit of a fire hose experience for folks, especially if they're new to the tool or they haven't touched it in a while. So I like to start with a bit more of an appetizer experience, a little bite sizes. So I create those custom reports, and then it's having that time with you where it's baseline, like, okay, Morgan, from what you're reading through here, your Briggs and Needs report, have you had a moment yet to just sit with it? And from everything that's in there, have you had a moment yet to note for yourself, what is a heck yes? Like, I can feel it viscerally in my body, both my Briggs, but especially my needs. I reinforce for folks that if you get nothing else out of our time together, tune into these needs, because as we talk about burnout, exhaustion, sure, meditation is helpful, nature walks very helpful, whatever else. The energizer column of what I create, that is the biggest bang for the buck, because it is a quick reference. Like, I'll use me for an example. One of my top 5 is relator, and one of the most common needs is true for me and my relator theme. What really energizes is one-on-one conversations, especially with those that we care about, right? So it is wild to me that still, when I'm feeling a little drained, like in between client calls or whatnot, I call up my big brother, be like, hey bud, like, what's going on? What's new? Just like quick check-in. I'm in between meetings. I only have a couple minutes. How was that thing? Doing all right? Yeah. Okay, cool. I got a shift. I got to go get ready for this next thing. Great to chat with you. I'll follow up with you. Yeah, love you. Love you too. I'm like the Energizer Bunny. And it was just 3 minutes. And so when I started to learn about these elements and these nuances and how these different themes are fed and how I am fed through my themes, it was absolute game changer in terms of like, oh, I am now able to have more intentionality on how I'm actually going to use my time, my break time or whatnot. That would reinforce for me I'm the one on the team who loves those little coffee chats. So when new leadership rolls out, they're like, everybody put coffee chats on your calendar. The relators in the house who are like me, like, yes, I get to know a teammate who's like in Copenhagen and we get to have coffee talk. And it makes sense to me that I love this podcast thing because I just get to talk with amazing new people and my good friends like Morgan. Like, yeah, my relator cup runneth over, right?
How do you know what your needs are though? Is that also in the tool? So it's like you're a relator and here's what you're good at and here's what you need?
It is suggestion. Again, the coachee, and I recommend this. I believe that is true for every single one of these tools for development.
Yeah.
That's where I struggle with, like, well, you're, like I'm high empathy, much like yourself. So I find it very important to frame folks with high empathy often, right? Like these ways of speaking where it's not absolutes, not generalizations. So I know I'm going in a little bit into neuro-linguistic feedback training and all that, but it's really important that when we're coaching with these tools for development, that we're not like all folks with empathy are emotional. Like they don't have control of their emotions. Cara and Morgan, they both have empathy in their top 5. They're not going to be a good fit because they don't have control of their emotions. That's not it at all. Again, it is not Merriam-Webster dictionary definition. So it takes someone like a coach where empathy often shows up, and it's this giftedness and this talent of being able, and so I'll use I statements, and this is how I do it in workshops and with clients as well. I'll use some personal example, of course, from the research, but also like, hey, I've got my top 5. Or if it's not, I have had clients who say this because it's also in their dominant themes. Is that true for you? Or how does that connect with what you've experienced? What meaning are you making from what I'm saying? And so with empathy specifically, it's often this spidey sense, and this is true for me, that I am able to read a room without anybody saying a thing.
Me too.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So then we get to have this like, oh, cool, right? Team time. Like, wow, how does it show up for you, Morgan? When was the last time you had that? Like, what was it like? What did you do with that? Because where it becomes a weakness, I love that we're using empathy. I don't often tap into this one because for me, I'm like moving on to the next ones. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I got that one because I have healed my relationship with that. And that's where I really start to tune into internal family systems. I'm very thankful for learning about internal family systems because it helps me understand this dominant theme, how it becomes a weakness. I very much tie it to internal family systems for me. That's what makes sense for me. And to your point, like there's a lot of different ways to go about this personal and professional development work. Those two have been the most beneficial and makes the most sense and intuitive for me. So with empathy, it's often shows up as that awesome gift to be able to read a room, like you're able to sense what's going on, especially when people are like, yeah, everything's fine. You're like, it's not fine. Like, yeah, okay. It becomes a weakness, and it's a real slippery slope. It's a lot. I use the metaphor or analogy that it's like the Jedi power, and I used to lose a lot of people, but now Disney is helping me be relative again. So thank you, Disney. That our dominant themes are like the Jedi power in that it is both Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. And it's a real slippery slope when it becomes Darth Vader. And let's stay focused on that empathy theme. For me, I didn't realize until I was in my certification course and we were going through how it switches pretty quick, and empathy was used as the example. And as the facilitator was sharing, I was like, like they read my diary, like, how did you know? And that it, like, we're able to read a room, and then it becomes a weakness when we then try and go fix the thing. Nobody asked us to go fix it. And I was 41 when I was going through that certification course, and I had like a tidal wave of memories of all the times when I was so confused why the people that I was trying to help were upset with me.
Yeah.
And I realized, like, I get to have that responsibility for my behavior that I just didn't have my awareness around it. All the more why I love this tool. It raises our awareness around, like, oh, I can read it and then leave it, or just hold space for it. I can hold it. And if somebody asks, if I feel a connection, I can name it, right? If I have enough deposits in the relationship piggy bank, I can name, like, hey, I'm picking up on this.
Do you want to talk about it?
Right. Like, is this even true for you that I'm picking up on it? And if they say yes, like, cool, look, right on, I'm holding space for it. What would feel most supportive to you?
Love that. That reminds me, I was a stripper and I was working down in the Miami area, and this woman was on the phone. She was in the locker room And she was in this like dramatic conversation. And at first I was real judgy and I thought she was talking to some loser boyfriend. And it seemed like she was like convincing. And I just thought, ugh. And I was changed. I was about to leave. I was done with my shift. And then something about it. And I was like, you know what, Morgan, you don't know what's going on for her, but I just felt a draw to comfort her, no matter what the issue was, judgment aside. And so she got off the phone and she was like kind of sitting on the bench. And I said, I don't remember ever meeting you before. I don't know if we've ever worked together. Because I mean, there were like 250 girls on the roster at this club. So you didn't always know some of the girls. Right. And I said, I feel like I want to give you a hug right now. It's cool if you're not into it. And she goes, I would love that. And I hugged her and she started crying. Her sister was on the phone threatening to commit suicide. And I was like, wow, one, do not judge what's going on. Right. And two, ask permission. Because I felt this and I wanted to comfort her and support her, but I wanted to make sure it was okay with her. But I also want to ask you something, and I want to ask you about something because same thing. I was, again, living down there dancing. And as a stripper, I was not a hustler. Sometimes people would be like, oh, you must make so much money. And I'm like, I'm not the highest earner because I genuinely like connecting with the people. And girls that make the most amount of money know how to get one over on guys and really hustle them for money. And I just ethically couldn't do it. And so, I mean, I made great money. And I didn't make tons of money, you know, because I didn't take advantage of people once they were drunk, you know. It was some of the girls were like, let's get him as drunk as possible. And then he'll buy another hour. And that was like $6,000, you know. So, do it.
That's some tough karma. I find those moments of like, that's going to come back at you. And that's going to bite you.
It wasn't. I was like a therapist who took her clothes off. I had a lot of really candid conversations. I'm not even kidding, Cara. I can remember 2 different men that I made cry while I was working because I was asking them these really in-depth questions and I'm in a G-string straddling them naked with this little tiny pair of panties on and 7.5 inch clear heels, you know, like. But this guy's crying and he's like, I can't believe my wife cheated on me. I thought she was the love of my life. And I'm like, oh my God. So anyway.
Baba, it'll be okay.
I say all this, Cara, because now that you said, when you're talking about I'm glad you explained the way that you carry out empathy, because I was going to ask you as you were talking, can your strength ever turn into a weakness? Or if you don't know any better, you feel like you have this gift and yet then you think, but maybe there's something wrong with it or it's not a good thing. And I say that as you explain it. And then I was like, oh, so empathy is my strength, which is why I can connect with people so quickly and I can feel a room so quickly. And it becomes my weakness or my downfall if I don't take care of me. So you automatically want to go help people, which is awesome. And they don't always want your help. For me, it was more like, as a therapist, as a stripper, I was eating people's feelings emotionally. And I was taking them on. And when I lived in Florida, I remember a girlfriend, we were texting and I said, why do you think it is that when I'm working, I'm on? Like I'm on. I'm catering to everyone else's needs and I'm really perceptive. And then when I'm not working, it's like, don't talk to me. Don't touch me. I'm at the beach. I'm reading. Leave me alone. I want to put up signs all around my beach blanket that says, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. Leave me alone, you know?
That's a lot of harmony. Just kidding.
But she said, because you give, and then you need to replenish. And I was like, oh. So anyway, is that how, like, when you look at people's strengths, and it could be, let's say mine is activator, and I love it, but if I go too hard, other people might pull away from me because they're like, Jesus, can we just take it down a notch for a second and just be in the moment instead of moving on to the next plan? So is that what you mean by like something light can also be the darkness and you got to watch for that balance?
Very much. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Activator, the barrier label is often like it's this beautiful catalyst energy often that you've got that fire to start the thing. But then often how it becomes a weakness for a lot of folks with high activator is that you leave the people around you in the dust to go do the thing.
Okay.
I wonder what I often find with folks with high responsibility. And again, I'm using that language very intentional. It's high responsibility, like it's a dominant theme.
For
it's
me.
Not a strength. Right. It's not a strength yet, because strength becomes a strength just like a muscle
Oh,
with repetition, knowledge, application. Now we're trying again. Like, oh, well, that approach didn't work. Or like, hey, that didn't work then, but I've got a couple more tools in my toolbox now. Let me try, so it's this, just like any sport, like free throws, like the finesse, like all of it, learning an instrument, samesies. All samesies. And again, like as humans, we have all 34 in us. It's not like you don't have it in you. It's about energy use. So operating from your down, and I'll come back to that responsibility thing because this is good. Like now that you've shared that, and this is very much a coaching, like, okay, so how have you seen these show up or not? And people are just really stumped. They're like, okay, that's cool. Well, let's go to the brings and needs. From the needs, what's really popping off the page for you? What are you noticing that you like to ask more about, or like whatever, and then it just snowballs from there in a beautiful way. That the theme, so all 34, when we operate from our dominant themes, it's like writing with our dominant hand. When you switch so high quality, you don't even really have to think about it. It's those moments when people come up to you and say like, oh, that was so awesome that you did fill in the blank, and you're looking at them like they have three eyes because it's just what you do. That is those are your gifts. Not everybody does what you do. So it's really honing in on that. Like you are special. I'm like, oh, it's not that special. It is. It is. And this is not an ego thing. Like this is what you, it's very important to honor those. You don't have to be up on a, like plaque about it, and
embrace it.
Give yourself some love, a lot of the confidence, like lean into that. Yes, not everybody brings that to relationships. So when we operate from our dominant themes, smooth, high quality, least amount of time, right? Just like writing with our dominant hand. Switch over to our supporting themes. It's like writing with our non-dominant hand. Yeah. It's going to take more time, more energy,
concentration,
less quality, more concentration, right? Yeah. When we go down to our 30 to 34, it's like writing with our feet.
You're right? Like, I can't do this. I mean,
we can't.
I don't want to.
Right. We can. The quality's going to be crap. It's going to take a lot more time. It's going to be super frustrating. So the whole thing is, it's not if you do your job, it's how you do your job.
Yeah.
So when we raise our awareness around, so I'm going to go back to responsibility. What I find often with folks with high responsibility, when there's not awareness around, and so this is when it's a weakness, is that folks with high responsibility often will give to everyone else, exactly what your friend said, will give to everyone else, and they forgot to be responsible to themselves first. Very much the cup, like folks with high responsibility often do not intentionally fill their cup first before they pour. It is just, pour. And oh my goodness, now I'm empty and now I'm frustrated and I just want to shut out the world and agitated and whatever else. Well, you didn't pour into yourself first, or you didn't pour into somebody else and let me do a quick reset. Be more intentional about your approach. So these are the types of tangibles that can come from understanding not only your results, but then, okay, what the heck do you even do?
That's why I asked you. That is so cool because I'm gratefully some have teased me in the past. Why do you get up so early? And I said, because I give all day. And I don't know when it's going to stop because especially in certain jobs I've had, I don't know what hour I'm going to be done. So I like to wake up literally 3 or 4 hours before I have to be anywhere, talk to anyone, because I want to journal and I'm going to take a shower and I don't want to be rushed. I want to listen to a podcast. I want to drink my coffee as slow as I want to drink my coffee. And so I'm grateful that, and so would be really awesome for people to learn. This is a theme where you're really dominant and you could kick ass.
Yeah.
And if you're not, it's because maybe you're not, like for someone who's responsibility, filling your cup first. Whereas for me, call me crazy, I do get up that early because I need those hours to myself so that when I do go and give, I'm not resentful. I'm not burned out. So I did that naturally because I knew that's what I needed. But I'm sure there's plenty of women that are not doing that.
Yeah. And in the coaching call, I would then ask just pure curiosity. And also, so then we would be able to connect other dots.
Mm-hmm.
Morgan, how do you learn that about yourself? And then whatever you would want to share.
Yeah.
On like, oh, well,
trial and error.
I was going to say, stuff really hit the fan. You're like, oh, well, okay.
Maybe
beautiful.
If I do it myself.
Right. And so you applied that knowledge, and now you've got a really solid system for yourself to keep your cup full and all that. How, now thinking about that and how you really put in place for yourself even more intentionality to take care of you, reflecting on that experience and your own agency, how does that inform your thinking about what we were just talking about before, where the narrative is like, well, I just don't know, or I could never fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you did it over here. So how does that, what could you maybe glean from that experience? What could you do? Like, sure, all these are not an option. What's one possible action that you could take? And sometimes, oftentimes, it's, do you have a trusted person in your life that you could share? Hey, I had a coaching call. This is what came up, and I'm honestly stumped. Do you have an idea? Any ideas on what might be a next best step with this? And when I bring up that type of approach, I very much reinforce someone who you know has your best interest, because that's a very vulnerable position, right? Someone who you have a lot of deposits in that relationship piggy bank with.
Yeah.
Because you need to have that trust established, because it's a very vulnerable place to be in. But it's a good amount of those connecting the dots, like discipline. I have a funny feeling maybe routines are helpful for you.
I am very big on routines. I allow for flexibility and pivoting, and every day has a plan. So I was talking to, I think it was at my confidence club call 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about like spiraling thoughts and shoulda, coulda, woulda thoughts, and like, well, maybe I should have done this because maybe it would have led to that. And I asked the group, I just put out there, I'm like, do you all have like an inner dialogue? Because I don't have an inner dialogue. And they're like, you don't have an inner dialogue? And I'm like, I mean, the only thing that I'm talking about is what I'm about to do next. Like, I always have a plan of what's next, or I'm observing and I go, well, that's interesting. So either I'm observing things around me, or I'm thinking about what my next thing is going to be. I don't sit and just think about things. And they're like, wow, like, it's like, so I think, yes, that would be my discipline. I'm like constantly thinking about the next thing I'm going to accomplish.
Yep. I'm giving a shout out real quick to the text. So for friends out there and listeners who are like, I did, hiring a coach is actually a little bit out of my price point right now. Like, totally get it. Like, so we can get on a discovery call and see however I can best support you. But if you've got this Strengths Finder text, and there's a good amount that are now in used, bookstores or whatever else, I like to bring folks' attention to the second half of the text. And this is what I use.
The tabs and
this is, yes. We've had moments. We have had moments. So poetically, I opened it right to empathy, and on the other side, discipline. So here we go. But like, in all sincerity for listeners, if you're like, okay, what might be, if I can't afford a coach, or like I don't have time to chat with Cara, but the Strengths Finder thing, it collects stuff. It's in the library somewhere, right? It's a little shorty. It's got that red and white with the little 2.0, pretty distinguishable. Nice job, Gallup, on the branding.
Kira, doesn't when you buy the book, you get a special code to use the test online?
The little code back there.
Oh, it's still back there. I thought you could only use it once. You can use it more than once.
No, only once, and that's very much on purpose, because if you take it multiple times, you start to lean into survey bias. So
how did someone get a used copy then and still be able to take the test?
Well, that would have been that they took it, or you reach out to someone like me. Because again, if you're someone like me who you're like, maybe I took it, maybe I not, go to Gallup.com. They've got it all archived in there. And most likely they have it. And again, when you're reading through your results from that time long ago, if it's not feeling like a fit, a Gallup certified coach like myself, we have a $10 discount on every single code.
So make sure that you give me that link so that I can put that in the show notes. So someone, if they would like to test, can reach out to you. I like that. And then go a used copy of the book.
Or Yeah, so this little piece back here, I'm just giving that shout out that I love, like we were just talking discipline, open it up. At the end of each, it has all 34 themes back here, a little description of the theme. And if you have it, this might resonate for you.
I'm like, I still have my book.
Exactly, right? The golden nugget, like the biggest gems that I found with the Michelle's at Central Office. And then I brought it to every team. That's why I went and got certified, because I kept bringing it. I brought it to Pearson. I then brought it to like my other, who else? Like just like friends and family and whatever else. And I was like, this is uncanny. Like it is so positively impactful every single time. And I was just green. I was organic. I wasn't certified yet. I was like, this thing's the bomb, right? Yeah. So low hanging fruit here is at the end of each of the themes, it's got like you, very Bette Midler, what, you know, enough about me. What do you think about me moment, like Beaches, right? But it's got, but it's got back here, who was Cece Bloom in that movie? So there you go. Cece with the Cece. You're welcome. I digress. Okay. It's got working with others who have that theme. So are you open to this little moment here? It feels like story time with Morgan. So working with others who have discipline. So is this true for you? And this is how, like, this is modeling for listeners now and viewers. This is how it applies when you have that connection with your coworker, like, hey, I heard this podcast, but like, let's try this out. And so the question is this true for you? So in this case, is this true for you, Morgan?
Okay.
When working on a project with people who have discipline, make sure to give them advance notice of deadlines. They feel a need to get work done ahead of schedule, and they can't do this if you don't tell them the timeline. Wow. See? Huh? Okay. We got a bell ringer.
I'm annoyed if I go into any meeting, any presentation, even a social event. What is the agenda? And I don't need to bit by bit, but I want to know time. Like, are we going to be here 45 minutes? We're going to be here 90 minutes? And what is the plan? Just the flow. So I have an idea of what I'm looking at for the time that I'm going to be here. If it's just willy-nilly, I am super annoyed.
Yep. Okay. Moving on to the... I also had a moment like, and so if you and your boo want to have a coaching session when he's on stateside, you just let me know. That the assessment comes in, I think, like 50, 70 different languages, and French and Italian are definitely options. I digress. All right. Working with others who have discipline. Is this true for you, Morgan? Try not to surprise people who have discipline with sudden changes in plans and priorities. The unexpected is distressing to them. It can ruin their day.
I have learned after being in medical device sales that I can have a plan. I have to be open to pivots or I am going to get really dysregulated. So I've learned to be more flexible. Yes.
Okay. And these are those moments where I heard it when I became a certified coach. I was like, a strengths coach. I was like, oh, thank you. I'm putting that one in my pocket and using it. And that is, as best as we're able, introduce your strengths before they do.
Oh. Okay.
So when you find, you're like, hey, everybody, I'm putting my discipline hat on. It would be really awesome to...
Because then it's almost like labeling it. It's not, I'm a bad person or I'm unreasonable. Right. I have this little hat that I'm putting on. So you know.
Yep. This actually is super. And there's one more that we'll get to. And like commercial PSA for strengths. Again, with my background in social justice education, I love that this supports diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, because it becomes the universal language. Exactly what you just said. Like, it's not Morgan's being a pain in our ass.
Yeah.
It is Morgan is honoring this part of her, this theme, the discipline theme, and we care about Morgan. And this is what she's saying is her truth. Then we're going to create that belonging space because we want to make sure that everybody truly feels cared for, right? Digress. Okay, last one. Is this true for you, Morgan? This organization will annoy people with discipline. Don't expect them to last long in a physically cluttered environment.
That is 100%. I'm the kind of person in my closet, if I buy something new, something goes to Goodwill. Because it's like, I don't want too much stuff. It makes me feel really anxious.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And that's not a bad thing. That's you honoring your need. Again, brings and needs.
But
you
see, and I like that it normalizes it. And that's what's nice about whether it's this or human design, and you find out, oh, actually, I don't work best this way. I work better this way. I'm not wrong or bad, or like I'm not working as hard as the next person. I just work differently. And this is like giving people permission to go, oh, so this is something that is my major theme.
Like, this is how I'm really fed. Yeah. Like, again, that's for development, not diagnosis. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and if you are aware of it, go, okay, yes, that is my major tendency. Right. And I can learn how to regulate when I am in a disorganized environment or things do feel uncomfortable. How can I comfort myself or manage my emotions without being like flustered or annoying other people? You know, with my dominant theme, I don't want to annoy other people.
And yeah, and that they get to be grown adults. Like, if we're talking about young people, of course, that's different. Like, their brain's not fully developed, and they probably don't have a whole lot of awareness on these details. And yeah, you get to honor your truth. And I'm thinking about those moments that, for me, it's a really helpful filter to know when somebody says that they care about me. Well, when I now have this awareness around what I need, and then I name it. And if you're still not, like, of course, there's going to be hiccups, right? We aren't robots. We also are going to get it, quote unquote, wrong, that it's not wrong. I don't believe in I'll use the word failure. And I am one of those, that's just a learning opportunity. Like, oh, wow, look at how that just blew up in the, like, wow, well, what is this here to teach me? I'm going to be taking some notes. And then
every relationship, every
other things. Yeah, and that's all this is. It's like, oh, wow, look at that. Oh, yeah, sure enough, I actually do know that about myself, and I didn't think to name that, like folks with high analytical, oftentimes that are fed by the analytical theme, oftentimes need a lot of think time. They want the data, and it's one of those where if you're on the team with them, like, wow. When you don't have the awareness or the understanding, everybody involved, if it's not named, it looks like, are you molasses in December? Like, are you ever going to make a decision? They just need some more think time. So to your point, like, let's prepare. Let's have that agenda set up. Like, it improves our communications when we're understanding how to actually honor what folks are needing. And then so sometimes our friends with high activator like yourself, and then we've got that analytical, like you're like, oh, I've got an idea, and you're ready to go. And our friends with high analytical are like, dude, I'm going to need a minute. So it informs that communication, right? Like, if you are on a team with someone with high analytical and they said, like, Morgan, I love you, and holy cow, you are 5 miles down the road, and I actually just need to sit at the rest stop. Would you, like, if somebody said that to you, what would your response?
Well, I'd probably go, okay, I can honor that. And how much time do you think that will be? Or what other information?
Exactly.
Yeah, or what other information you need from me to help? Right. And I've learned that even in sales, a lot of times, because as you're saying this, I'm thinking about a customer of mine who's interested in a product that I sell. And they're like, well, we're still not sure because we want to do this and we still want to research this. And do you have other people that are using this that we could connect to? And I'm like, we've already done 2 demos. I pulled in resources from my side, but then I think, oh, well, for them, I'm like, this is a proven thing. What more do you need from me? But you're right. Maybe this person that's kind of holding back is the one who needs more analytical time. And I need
that information. They need the data. Yeah, all of it.
And then I often, when I do add that, then I'm like, does that help? Question mark. Because I'm like,
let me know what else you need. Yeah, let me know what else you need. Yeah.
Now, going back to the different tools, I was thinking about a friend of mine. She did some tests. This was like 10 years ago. But she goes, I'm a pearl. So there were these different things and pearls were very sensitive. And I have no idea what this test was. I couldn't tell you if I tried.
Me neither. That doesn't ring a bell. Yeah.
sometimes she would, within her relationship, she'd be like, but I'm a pearl, because she just had to I'm not overly emotional. I'm not I'm having a pearl moment. So so it was nice to be able to name something and kind of have a joke and anchor in that, yes, I'm emotional, but I'm also, it's just because this is part of my process that I'm a pearl.
Right. Yeah, it is really interesting to be in a relationship. Like my ex with her, well, one of my many exes with her ex-husband, like when we met, I had just done that CliftonStrengths training. It was 2016. And so I was fresh off of like, this is the best ever. And then we met in the fall. So that was June. And we met in the fall. And she's really into, all the different personality and whatever character assessment things. So had her take the CliftonStrengths and we just jammed on it. And she also has high activator. And she talked about man, my ex-husband would give me so, now that she had the words for it, she's like, he would give me so much grief. And it was framed by him towards her that she just didn't care. She was just off. She didn't care what he thought or his input or whatever else. It was just so much more that she was excited about the thing. And she just didn't know. And for me, I was like, no, I love that about you. It's clear where we're going. The guesswork is taken out of it. I'm like, cool. And I'm very high executing. My top are empathy, communication, achiever, relator, and arranger. And so it's one of those in that regard, we were a really solid team of she had the vision and let's execute it flawlessly.
Love that.
Right. So it can be really beneficial. Yeah.
I love hearing that too, because obviously you're in an education environment, you help companies, you help teams. I love that you're also saying, hey, guess what? It can actually help in your relationship as well. Yes, you have the 5 love languages, that's a great little tool to keep in mind. This is an awesome tool as well. The more tools and the more things we learn about ourselves and each other, communication's better, relationships are better, our own behavior is better, because we're this isn't me, this is this part of me that's maybe being triggered or
when it's used with care, again, that is for development, not diagnosis.
Yeah.
And so if listeners out there, you're in a relationship and your partner keeps having you take these things, and if it's feeling like a gotcha or being put in a box,
what's wrong with
different conversation. Like a psychometric and exactly. Trying to fix you. That is not at all what this is, because then when it feels like they're trying to fix you, that is when is now being used for diagnosis.
Well, and
it's not development.
A microaggression, or what did you say? What did you call
it's a microaggression. Yeah. When it's being used for diagnosis or to label you, to box you, that's a microaggression. And so I encourage folks, I think you and I are very much on that same page, Morgan, listen to your intuition, honor your intuition. I actually had a coffee chat with a lady this morning, just networking. We met at a chamber event. Let's go get coffee and get to know each other. Awesome human being.
Okay, relator.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yes. You see me. I'm also, woo is 6 for me, which I think is maybe not too unique, but to have relator and woo in the dominant theme is because woo is that big stage, get really fed by the big stage and wanting to, connect with the metaphors that, going to the same conference, 2,000 people at a conference, huge conference room. How to distinguish folks with most likely high woo versus high relator. Folks with high woo. And I actually was just on a call with a married couple. And so I thought it was going to be more like a married couple call. Halfway through, or pretty early on in the call, I realized no, actually it's that they had their own awesome careers, and then they started to go into business together. They have built a business together, and it's more as business partners. So they're awesome in their, very long established marriage, grown children, all that, great partners. It's the work side of it where it's right? So just navigating those waters together, because it's new and it's a different relationship. But the woo and relator, one of the partners is high woo, one of the partners is high relator, and they just come back from a conference. So it was really cool to be hey, when you were just there, was the person with high woo not super energized by meeting as many people as possible? That is the goal often for folks with high woo, is let me soak up all the people, versus high relator. Who do I actually click with and go off into a corner right? Probably out in the hall where it's not as loud and high stimulus, where I could actually be with you. That is also in your top 10. You probably in your dominant, since you're like, yep, lightning strike.
Definitely
When
not
we
a whoop.
right, when we unlock your full 34 report, my hunch is most likely you've got high relator up there because it resonated so much for you.
Yeah.
That's the other part with this stuff is like when I, like started my journey on using it more intentionally with my awareness and all. Oftentimes it's like, well, duh, yeah, like you know this stuff about you when you're honest with yourself, and that brings us back to
You don't
honor
have
your
words for
intuition.
it. You don't have words
What,
for it until you have something like
exactly.
this. You're like, yeah, I'm like a little like this, and sometimes in this situation I act like that, but it's really fun to have language for it.
Right. And that's I'm a strengths coach, so I'm going to advocate for and stamp, raise the important detail that CliftonStrengths, it informs all of your relationships, both personal and professional, no matter the environment. So it's no shade towards DISC or like other tools, but like DISC. And I often get like, well, we use DISC. I'm like, I hear you. And DISC applies to the environment. So I actually was in communication with a local construction company here recently, and they were like, well, no, we use DISC. I'm like, I hear you. And how, like, the team is having some moments of what looks like miscommunication that could really be nurtured with this increased level of awareness when we're using CliftonStrengths rather than DISC, because how you are out in the construction field will be a different DISC result than how you are in the office. It just is. Versus CliftonStrengths, it's how you are no matter the environment, is your innate ways, like patterns of thinking and thought, behavior. So that's where I'm like, yes, you could say I'm biased, favoritism, whatever else. And for me, it's so much more like it's based on 70 years of research. And it's, I find so much more of a high return on your investment when we're talking about applications to all of your relationships. And I love that you brought up human design, because the bit that I know about human design, I have found in my beautiful gift called life so far since getting certified in 2020, as I, tap into all these other tools for development. I was like, I think human design is probably the closest connection to, in terms of how you operate, how you naturally operate, right? From my understanding of human design, like the little bit that I've done, I'm like, okay, yeah. So it's not necessarily how you're fed, but just like there's no need to shame yourself or browbeat yourself for all of these experiences in the past. Like, this is just who you are. So starting there, gaining, creating that acceptance for yourself. So going back to CliftonStrengths, then it's about powerful partnerships. And so I use it in my client workshops a good amount, and whenever I'm chatting with folks, that again, you're probably already this oftentimes is not a surprise for you, because this is just how you've operated your lifelong anyway. And so my example is that, yes, I'm high executing. It's 4 different domains: strategic thinking, influencing, executing, and relationship building. So strategic thinking, I'm not as fed by. That's very much in the lower side of my report. So it's going to take more energy, right? Like we talked about, it's riding with my non-dominant or my feet. And so often we naturally partner with our quote unquote opposites. And so my joke, but also to reinforce this point, is that growing up, I'm high executing. My older brother is high strategic thinking. So he had the plan. I helped execute flawlessly, and we were grounded like all the time, which we also happened to be 3 redheads on an army base, which did not help when we were trying to, when we were executing our plans. But like, it's how you're probably doing life anyway. It just helps, as you already reinforced, gives us the language, and this universal language, because it is used quite often in corporate America, in like your top 5. It's offered I was like, what is the actual word that describes most people's experience? It is offered as an activity, a voluntold activity, but using it, the more I'm in the work, I don't have of course, I can't know the percentage of, how many folks take it compared to what companies or, what businesses, industries use it. And the more I'm in this work, it's gotta be like, no, I can't imagine more than 25%. That actually would be really interesting to reach out to Gallup. I thank you for the external processing moment. I hadn't thought to ask that before. Like, yes, I think it's almost 33 million people throughout the world have taken it. And even with that, your top 5 are as unique to you as your thumbprint.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like, there's just so much richness that folks, it's like a treasure, like a treasure chest, just sitting there right for you. So whenever you want to unlock your treasure chest and, hang out and understand more, I'm here for you. So
where do you want people to connect with you? What's the best way to interact with you?
Yeah. So my business is Tutum Leadership Coaching, and Tutum is Tutum Leadership Coaching. And Tutum means safe in Latin because I create safe spaces to have brave and tough conversations, which often I'm finding more and more, with all the change in the world and the reorgs and major hirings, major layoffs, right? Those types of changes are take the most, and where I find the most value in using in applying the richness from that this tool provides. And it very much mirrors my career, and that I give a tip of my hat to. I'm also high restorative. That's in my top 10, and restorative is like helping to heal or fix the thing. And so I love coming into what looks like a hot mess and feels like a hot mess and figuring out how to connect and create systems. And so somewhat standard operating procedures, there's some of that there, but really like on a larger scale. So the irony that I don't really have high strategic thinking, and it's more like understanding the human experience and what is currently not working. So that really tapping into that empathy and that arranger and that restorative, like those trios, those 3 themes really inform, and then arranger on how to put it together. And then of course achiever, like the amount of dinner dates I missed were quite extensive because I just work. And that barrier, like, it becomes a weakness when work is over people, and I've missed flights. Yeah, it's just one of those things. So Tutum Leadership. So if all that we have shared is resonating, all these pain points are like, yeah, how do Morgan and Cara did they read my diary? Reach out. Yeah, Tutum Leadership Coaching. And when you hop on over there, there's many places where you can select the schedule a call button, and we'll just hop on, explore the waters. I'm also tapped into, as a certified coach, so many other strengths coaches. So if it's not feeling like a fit, I know we will share the love, and because that's what matters to me, is that if you're feeling the hurt, that we really work together for you to equip yourself with that healing, and you know what that is for you. And there's ways to name that for yourself using this tool, and moving forward together. So it would be an honor. Yeah.
Last question is, do you have a motto or a theme that you run your life on? And I always say mine is, if you don't try, you won't know. What is yours?
I go more for value. Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a motto. It's like a camping motto. So my top value is leave every person and place better than I found them. And of recent, I've added on for myself as I've grown with wisdom to the best of my ability. Because I think my empathy theme there in the early days are like, but I made it worse. I'm like, you didn't. Like, you did your best. This is a tango. This is a dance. So that's what I'd say to that. Yeah.
That was beautiful, and so was having you here. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. True honor. I loved every second you You are a firecracker in human form, and I love you to pieces. Thank you so much for having me on, and hope it was helpful for your listeners. Any little nuggets there. So I appreciate you, bud. I love you.
If something in today's episode hit you in your heart, I want you to raise your hand right now, because I am talking directly to you. Maybe you are dating and you have never really stopped to ask yourself what you actually want, how you want to feel, and what you absolutely will not tolerate anymore. Maybe you're in a relationship or marriage and you are still people-pleasing, still saying yes when you mean no, still making yourself smaller so everyone around you stays comfortable. Maybe you were taught to be a good girl, not cause waves, not take up too much space, and you are exhausted from it. Imagine waking up and knowing exactly who you are, wearing what you want, saying what you mean, letting other people's opinions of you be their problem, not yours. That is a skill, and it is exactly what we build together. My coaching is not a formal weekly call you have to wait for. It's me in your pocket, available via text and voice note in real time as life actually happens. Like your most honest best friend, who also happens to have a master's degree and zero tolerance for you playing small. If you are ready for that, come find me. You can DM me on the Instagram, the link is in the show notes, or head to morganbarkus.com to get in touch. Until next time, stay unapologetic.